actually, that's record. And today's topic on Healers Talk is what to do energetically when loved ones pass. And with just everything happening around us, and with 9/11, like the collective energy and all that, and also both of Jacob and I's personal experiences, having people around us, whether close or not, having passed, it's just something that I really felt like would be a great topic. I'm very familiar with the grieving stages and how there's 7 grieving stages, and it's actually more spiral-like and not linear. And so that's some of the things I've been more sharing about. And I thought it would be really beneficial to really talk about it from an energetic standpoint, right? So this would be a great topic for today.
Definitely. And the thing here, what I would like to start or what I would like to open this conversation is with the fact that in life you don't gonna have certainty. It's not part of nature. It actually will be very boring to have certainty, and you can see it like at your job. If you go to job usually and you're doing the same tasks all over again, it becomes boring, to the point that people usually say that they need a change, right? Because there's no excitement, it's so certain that the time that you get in, what you're gonna do, the time you get off, what you're gonna eat, and all the different things. So certainty is not part of life. And although we crave for uncertainty, which is adventure, which is changing in scenarios, doing something different, the counterpart is that our brain don't like in a natural form what is not. Physics are completely out of control that just happen, and there's a lot of loss. It's challenging, like you said. We have to go through the process of grieving because we have this situation of not only the person that we're losing, but also like getting a reminder of life itself, of how finite our life is, and we tend to go back into our lives and double visit what we've been doing, what we've been thinking or doing, saying, creating, and at those moments, your lifespan becomes very, very tiny. You see how small it is, and which is different than from the time that we are doing things like creating programs, like creating something with your children, with loved ones, so on and so forth. So we have to confront those things, and we have to be able to move them through our body. It's and that is allowing the emotions and the energy of the event itself to be released, and I'm talking here about crying, I'm talking about getting upset, rage, whatever information comes through you, it's difficult, it's challenging, but it happens, and in my particular case, I have a dear uncle that I grew up without a father physically, and so I have 3 uncles that were fairly close to me through all my developing years, and 2 of them brothers of my father. They already passed, and they passed a long time ago, and the last one just recently passed, and it was like he went to sleep normally, normal day, like any other. Of course, his age was not a younger person anymore. He was in his 80s, and then a heart attack, and boom, he got cold. He died. And for him, it's amazing, right? Because that's an amazing way to leave the body, without the pains, without being in the hospital for months and sometimes even years, without being stuck to a wheelchair or
right.
yeah. all the different things that come with age and with sickness due to age. But for the people around him, like his wife and us, it was like, oh my God, I mean, I just spoke to him, and he was doing great and hopeful and all that different things. But that's how life is. Now, I gotta tell you how I handle myself. I cannot tell you how to handle it yourself, because everybody's different, everybody do the things in a different way. And for me, this experience was a little bit more different than others, because I'm also a channeler and I usually work a lot with energies, and especially the energies of clients that pass and so on and so forth. And in this particular case, I couldn't be in contact with the energy of my uncle, and for me, it's something new, because I haven't experienced in this form in years. I cannot tell you how many years. I mean, it's been a while since I had this experience, and there's someone that I'm close to die and that I'm not able to connect with them. It's like, what's going on here? But that allowed me to go through the process like every other mortal does, like the process of grieving it and feeling the loss. And this time, usually the channeling part helps me, because I know that they're on a different place and they're good and so on and so forth, and I can help them. And but this time is like a total uncertainty, like it is for everybody else. It's just disappear out of my life, out of the blue. And so the thing here is that what we can do, or how do I handle it? Okay, well, first of all, I've been in contact with my emotions, and I am allowing my emotions to express freely through my body, right? So if I cannot sleep because I'm thinking on all the things that we had and so on and so forth, well, I use that time to have a conversation with him. Although I cannot feel him, I still have that conversation. I still feel grateful to him for being there for me, directly or indirectly, because I'm sure that many times he don't even want it to. It was like, I just fall into his lap, and he was like, okay, let's do something with this, right? But he was very, very good with that. And I'm an emotional person. I have my emotions very open, very, very, very on my heart, right? And so I am not even his sons see him and kiss him, or well, used to see him and kiss him on the cheek, and because he was one of those persons that it was not very comfortable, like showing emotion. And the things that he did for me were more on the professional level, that he teach me how to work, how to be a man, and how to manage money and debts and all that kind of stuff, And but I am an emotional being, so every time that I saw him, I hug him, and I stayed with him until both of us were crying, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful, and I am the only person that I am aware of that I always, since I remember, kiss him on the cheek, regardless of the age that I had, through all the time. So it was a very different and a special connection, and so what I do is I go through the process. I cannot sleep. I'm thinking of him, and I just going through all the different events that we shared together, and then just give it to him. Just tell him, how beautiful it is and how wonderful it is to experience this lifetime with him, for him to be part of my existence. Now, I don't know if you remember, Anuschka, on the healing protocol that I taught you guys. We probably, I don't remember if we have done one of those here on our lives, but it's a process, right? Where you go through the rage and express the rage, and then you ask for forgiveness and so on and so forth, right? So I follow kind of the same steps, you know. I follow the steps because for example, if someone passed on an accident and it's also a sudden death, yeah, well, you feel the loss and you feel bad, but we tend to hold the feelings of telling that person how stupid he was or how stupid she was, because they were speeding or they were doing something that they shouldn't be doing, right? So you need to be able to remove those feelings also out of your system, because if not, they will stay in your system because become part of you, part of your reality. And believe me, that person now in the place that they are don't want to have any attachments to you, you know, because in the way that I understand life, and of course it can be different in reality, you know, I'm open to that, but the way that I understand it is that we never left debts unpaid. So if you don't take all those emotions out of your system, that person is in debt with you, and eventually that debt's gotta be paid, you know. And it can be with him in another reincarnation or her in another reincarnation, or it can be with someone with similar energy, because we all have like a very specific frequency, and with someone with similar frequency, and then you're gonna do it to them, you know, you're gonna disappear out of their lives suddenly, you know. And it is like that. I mean, the other thing is what's happening outside of you, because all these things that I've been talking is what happens inside of you, you know, to remove the emotions that you have and to allow to feel those emotions. But also is what's going on outside of you. Like in this particular case is my aunt, right? And she's been left alone, and her only surviving kid is lives in Spain. She lives in Mexico, so it's like they're on their own. You know, she is on her own, pretty much. So it's kind of challenging. Everything that is happening, developing, and on the conversations that I have with this uncle, his only concern all the time was his wife. You know, my aunt is like, what's you know, I'm worried about her that she's not expressing her feelings. I'm worried about her because she's not doing this. I'm worried about her. It's like, okay, Rosa, now he's really worried because she's been left alone. You know, so what I'm doing is trying to call her like every other day, every 2-3 days, you know, to be on top of her and trying to figure out solutions of ways for her to not be on her own, you know. And it's challenging. It's challenging because it's different for everybody, you know. So
that is definitely something I've noticed too, where it's like each person, I mean, even with people that are alive, when it comes to diagnoses, right? I notice like each person handles it differently. Some people just want to go in their own shell and they just want to
yeah,
deal with it on their own. Other people want other people around, right? So it's like one of the things I always say is like the best thing you can do is just to send your love, tell them, hey, I'm thinking about you and I'm here at any point you need support. Like, and like you are saying, like reach out every other day or something, like, hey, how's it, you know, not even maybe ask any questions, like, hey, thinking about you. Because then if you ask questions, it's almost like an obligation for them to respond, right? That's something else.
And not just that. I mean, because many people, this is where it becomes a little bit tricky. You know, some of the therapists tell you that how important it is for us to express what is outside, I mean, what is inside, in order for us to release it. But if you learn a little bit about neuroscience, you see that the more that you bring one event into your life, the more that you reaffirm, because basically that event was a new neuron that you planted on your brain, but it doesn't have any glue, you know, that attached, they can attach that neuron to your brain as a permanent thing. But the more that you bring it, the more that your brain thinks that you're gonna need it, and so the more glue that it put on it, And the problem with that is that we are going to go through every time that we talk about that event, we're gonna relieve all the feelings and emotions that we went through on the original on the original part, because that's what we do, right? That's how our body reacts. That is the part of our mechanism. So the challenge here is that and that's why I'm telling you guys that it's important to release everything that is inside, and not just the beautiful things, but also the bad things, and take it out of your system so you can finally let it go, and be that is part of your past. And that is something that I use a lot on my own healing. I say, thank you very much for being part of my experience, for being part of my past.
Yeah.
And that's how I usually finish the sentences. And the reason why I do that is because I want to make sure that all this remains in the past. It is not part of my present. It is not part of my future. I'm gonna have to stand up for a second here just to check something. But anyway, that is the situation. You see, it's we have to do. It's kind of like the yin and the yang.
Right.
We have to do both things. We cannot do only one. We cannot only, the crying will be the yin side. The yang side will be the taking all that rage that we have against them, against God, against yourself, because you probably didn't call them before, or you were feeling something, who knows what it is, but you have to be able to do those kind of things, to be able to release them, because if not, they will remain inside of you. And if they remain inside of you, it's like an energetic cord that is attaching you to that experience from the past, that you will have to carry into your present in so many different forms, over and over and over again. And that is something that you definitely want to avoid at all costs, because if not, it's gonna hunt you. It's gonna hunt you. That's how it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, I think, one of the things that I've been sharing too, is just allowing, like, to each person, however it is, because each person mourns differently, or each person grieves differently, but each person is going to go through these various emotions at different times, and it's going to look different. Some may want to just not get out of bed, and that's okay. Like, just be in bed, cry it out, whatever you need. Just allow, I feel like, yourself to just be with it in those moments until you can start to, like, not force yourself to get out of it, like force yourself to say, oh, I shouldn't feel this way, or however that looks like. Because I think a lot of times that's what people do.
Yeah. The thing is that all that is usually depression, and staying in bed is, it's I don't know how to explain it, because like you said, it's very different for everybody,
Well, that's
and it really and depends on many other things, many other things. So,
well, and like you said,
it's
that's part of it though, right? So depression is one of the grieving stages. It's like when you feel super sad, and I mean, it's part of it. And it's like,
yes, but it is part of it. Yes, definitely. But there's something behind it, because the reason why you feel that you want to stay in bed, it's and I'm talking generally here, but the emotion that is behind is fear, right? And usually the symptom of fear is crying, right? If you just think on a child, don't think on an adult, because then it becomes a little bit challenging,
Right.
but think on a child, and think that little girl, little boy, let's say 3 years old, and then scare him, or take his favorite toy out of him and just take it away. What he's gonna do is he's gonna cry, right? And he's gonna cry with a lot of feeling. So now that is very important, because that is, remember that a child don't have any filters yet, don't have any social conditionings, and have no idea what is right and what is wrong. And that helps us because it allows us to know how we really are internally, what is it, the nature. Of course, you are not gonna pee everywhere. You don't gonna poop everywhere. You gotta observe certain manners at the time that you eat, and so on and so forth. That's part of being social. You have to conform to certain rules. But when it comes to emotions, we shouldn't have rules, because the problem with having those rules is like we are putting brakes into the emotions. We are not allowing ourselves to feel it. And if we don't allow ourselves to feel it, then it's going to get stuck inside, because it's energy. And if the energy is not going out, needs to go somewhere, it's going to be in. And if your energy is going to be in, needs to grow, needs to continue is natural development. And that natural development comes in so many different forms. It can come in the form of sickness. It can come in the form of attracting. We talk a little bit about this. I think that I don't remember if it was on our last live of the one before, that our magnetism that allow us to filter and to attract experience into our life. It's like one of those toddler toys where you have like a sphere or a triangle figure that you can only put on the triangle area, and so on and so forth, right? So just think about this. Have that image, and you are creating that image because that image is in front of you. That is your biomagnetic wall. And then you have all that rage because this person was so stupid. Let's say, for example, my uncle couldn't live easily another 5 years without any issues, but he was not taking care of of the things that he was eating, and he was not doing exercise, and so on and so forth, right? So I could say like, if he were younger, I could say, well, I still have rage inside of him because he couldn't live for more years. And he chose not to because of his behavior, right? Okay, but because I feel bad now that he's gone, and I feeling the void, and I feeling all the things that I couldn't talk in my case, I told him almost everything. I don't remember holding on anything. But let's suppose that we have stuff that I never told him how important he was in my life. Let's say that. Sure. So now I have these two things that are helping to create my biomagnetism, because my body and my brain think that this is a lesson for me to learn, right? So in order for me to learn that lesson, I need to attract similar experiences over and over and over again until I get it, until I stop shutting up my mouth and not expressing the things that I should, and until I'm able to say to the person, oh, come on, take care of yourself. Just if you're not doing your exercise and eat properly, you're gonna die, and so on and so forth. Like being intrusive in someone else's life. So the alternative of what I'm suggesting people here is to, instead of creating that wall here, is just go over and just get all those feelings of rage against my uncle for being stupid enough to not doing exercise and to not watching what he was eating. And now he's putting all the family to live in this situation where we have to take care of his wife, right? For him. you know. So now it's like I go in and I express all the rage. And there's people that are physical, there's people that are more energetical. If you're physical, just grab a pillow and smash it on the bed or on the couch with all the rage, everything that you feel, until you feel no more rage inside of you. You know, if you are more like on the energetic side, you don't have to do the things, you just have to bring the experience, bring the image of him, and just shout, you know, come on, man. You know, you knew that you needed to exercise. You knew that you needed to watch your diet, and here are the consequences. And how dare you? You know, how dare you leave us with all this situation? How dare you leave all this mess? How dare you leave without preparing ourselves and preparing yourself? You know, for a situation like this. You know, how dare you put us to live to all this? How dare you leave your wife just hanging loose, you know, so on and so forth, you know, because you have to release them. You have to release it. And once you finish, once you don't have any more arguments, then you go with you know. And he's like, oh my God, you're so stupid. You should have been on top of that. You should have talked him. You should have called him earlier. And all the things that you have against yourself. And an enhancer, which not many people is willing to do, is go against God, you know, and just throw everything that you have for God itself.
Yeah.
Everybody that is involved, including yourself, are very willing to receive all that criticism and all that rage, because once it's out of your body, we go into ourselves, we open up our heart, we bring the energy of heaven and earth inside of us, and then we come back to them and we apologize, you know, for saying the things that we've been telling them, and telling yourself how perfect you are and how proud you are of yourself, and so on and so forth, you know. And with the uncle is like, oh, how grateful I am for you, and for all the things that you did for me and for my family. And now that I'm a grown up, it's like, oh my God, I can see the sacrifice that represented for you to not only watch over your kids, but also to watch over me and over other members of the family, you know, that were not your responsibility, and so on and so forth. But you have to first let go all that rage. So where all that does for you is clear all that magnetic wall, you know, because you went through an experience basically, and you recognize the good and you recognize the bad, and you forgive everybody and you ask for forgiveness to everybody, and then you heal it with love, and you close the circle, is the entire circle, by thanking them for being part of your existence, part of your life. You know, it's recognizing that the good and the bad were a good thing for you. It was a God's gift sent. You know, it was magnificent. And that's how I suggest people to do it. Now, it works for me very good, and I can tell the things that it does at an energetic level because I'm very sensitive to energy, so I can see it. You know, now that I have an equipment, I have a BioWell equipment that I can check the person before and after the healing, and it's dramatic. You know how they change when you let go of all that rage. And that is the part that most therapists miss, because most therapists put you either tap it, you know, to forget it, to take all the intensity of the emotions out. It's good, but it's still affecting your magnetic wall. You know, you're not gonna feel it that intensive inside of you, but it's still gonna affect your magnetic wall because you haven't gone through the entire circle of learning that life puts you to live through. You know,
Yeah,
if you hate someone,
even like I always say, like with clients, I mean, just period, having any anger, resentment, sadness,
oh yeah,
is you got to get it out.
all
And
them,
I
all.
yeah, and I always will have them take that on and release it, and then of course do the meditation after the fact. And so many people are like, they feel guilty about it, they feel shameful around it, or
Yes.
whatever it is. And you
Yes.
gotta let that,
Yes.
give that up, because this
Yes.
is remaining inside of you. If you feel, if like you think about a memory and immediately you get upset, then it hasn't been healed, right? So it's like,
Yes.
get to a place
Yes.
where you can think about it and actually look at it as like, oh, you know what? This provided me with actually XYZ,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
I've done
Yeah.
that work. I mean, there was an incident that I swear, I think I worked on it for a year and a half where I was
Oh
just
yeah. 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 Yeah.
screaming out, right? So it's not like a magic pill that you take. No, it's actually really feeling that those
Well, the thing is like we're talking about two different events here. This is a sudden death. It's like
right.
someone just passed on.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
that's challenging,
It's
right?
just overall as a
But it's one event. It's only one event,
yeah.
right? And then the regrets or rage of everything, it's about their life and their thing. But the other stuff that you've been healing, it didn't it wasn't just one thing and it went away. It was a sickness. It was a process. So of course you're going to have layers and layers and layers and layers and layers, because there are different combination of emotions that you experience and live in each one of the processes, in each one of the times. Like, for example, when you first start having symptoms, it was something, it was like, what's going on with me, right? And then you go through the process until you get a diagnosis, and then the fear and all the stuff, of the diagnosis, and then it's a treatment and what they tell you, and what you try and doesn't work, and what you try and does work, and so there's different layers and layers and layers of things that you have to heal. But like I said, it's different. It's
like a shock, like
yes.
experience of someone, and like similar, right? We had a very similar experience, and I don't want to go into details of it, but I mean, it was a shock. It was a shock to all those around, to hear such news. And so you go through that denial and shock, and you're just like, how is this possible? And so it really can like
Yes.
shake you up. And then there's everybody, right? Like it's a collective of all those that are around as well, where you just bring them together.
Yeah. I gotta give you an example. I have a cousin. Well, I have a cousin that he was the life of the party, and he was fun, and every time that he was on the reunion, just the way that he expressed things, I mean, you couldn't stop cracking up, and laughing. But he never did anything with his life. He went to the best schools, and he have friends that were like very wealthy, and so he always had these amazing experiences all around the world, and not just in one place. He was all around the world all the time, but he never done anything with his life, and he died on an OD in I don't know if it was Cancun or Playa del Carmen. It wasn't Playa del Carmen, and it was out of the blue, right? And for some it was like, of course, it was like, I mean, it was meant to be. It was just a matter of time. Now, in my case, this happened many years ago. In my case, I didn't have the tools that I have now. So I just went through the process of grieving, and this thing about the channeling stuff is something that runs into the family, and he's on that side of the family. So he was also channeler too, So he knew what he was doing and what he was playing with, So it's like like crazy, but his thirst for knowledge and experiencing the world beyond the physical were like out of this world. He really needed to go to those places and experience them. And So anyway, the thing is that even to this time, to this year, to this moment, I will say that it's been, I don't know, it's I don't remember when I got the news, but it's been a few years. I mean, probably, I don't know, probably 10 years, you know, maybe more. I have no idea. I cannot remember. The thing is that I still sometimes come up with stuff, and now I get it. You know, it's like, oh, it's not the grief, it's the rage what is still here, you know? So I have to go through the process and do it. Now, I'm constantly healing my life, and this is just in general. I'm constantly doing that because I have to, you know, because every time that I am aware, every time that I remembering a tragic or a event that was shameful or less than pleasant from my past, I know that is because I have something that I need to heal. And the universe is finding that this is the right moment in time to do it, you know? So that's why I bring it over. So even if I'm driving on the freeway, I do it. You know, I go through the process and I make sure that I release absolutely everything that is inside of me, because the way that I released it before was the yin area, the yin side, you know, but now I have to do the yang side. And then offer apologies, and then you know, come to terms about giving forgiveness, and then close the experience completely, you know. But like I said, that's how it is, you know, and that's how always it's gonna be. We have to close the entire circle, go through your grief, go through the experiences, but don't forget about the yang side of things, you know. And it's the rage against the person that just went away, you know. It's all that energy, you have to let it go.
Yeah, even
Now,
if it is like you said, like towards God, because some people are like, well, I don't want to
yes,
God, and it's like, but that's not, you're just getting it out.
and remember that
Ask for forgiveness afterwards. Yeah, like exactly.
yeah, and for us, I mean, in the way that the God, the type of God that I believe on, it's like a whole ownership, right? It's like the good, bad, and the ugly. Everything it's belong to the same balance, right? So all those emotions of rage are okay with God, you know, are okay with Him, are okay for you to express it and to let it out. Because if I am part of God, He don't want and I'm using, you know, I'm saying him instead of she, but the energy of God don't want that to be inside of you, because if you keep it inside of you, you are keeping it inside of in him or her, you know. So it's not prudent, it's not good for anybody. You know, we need to transcend that energy. We have to convert all that energy of pain and rage and stuff into a very light energy when we apologize, when we ask for forgiveness, and when we forgive, you know. And then we start in this beautiful process of transformation of that energy and set them go and let it be, you know. And then you're ready to transcend that experience. And believe me, it takes a lot of heaviness out of your body.
Yeah,
A lot of heaviness. You know, your mind, instead of thinking in that event over and over all the time, you go like a very tiny percentage of your minds just remember with grace that, because you have nothing left to say, you know. And then you can go into your meditation just in light, you know, beautiful light, beautiful love and energy.
yeah.
So that's my suggestion.
And it's better, and I get it, it's tough because like I had my first experience of someone really close being murdered when I was like the first guy. Then I know we've talked to you about it, but
Yeah.
first guy I dated, and but I was young, I was like 17, you know, and I feel like it definitely took a lot longer because I didn't know how to process all of it. And like down the road, I did end up having the anger, and that anger piece that I've released, right? But at the beginning, it was a lot more of the yin piece, right? And a lot of
Yeah.
myself, and it was just, you know,
Yeah.
again, I was young, right? And so
Yeah.
now it's like coming from a place of like, well, it feels like a similar situation. I mean, not to that extreme because it's, you know, it's not like a first time. Whereas I noticed like with my husband and others that it's like their first time experiencing something like this. There's a lot of like, I shouldn't be this way, or, you know, like things that you're like, I'm not sure how to process through it, where that's why I thought this was really great to just actually really say, hey, no, like we gotta like experience it all, and there's nothing wrong with all the feelings, whether it's
Right.
anger, mad at him, whatever that may be, right?
Yeah.
And I know like we're running out of time, but like the one thing I always, I guess for me, that I always know is like it's like a transition. I don't ever think of like, I never think of them as gone, right? It's just like they're
Mhm.
out of this vessel, this earth, and
Mhm.
soul
Mhm.
moves on. And you know, even with this certain incident, it's like there were so many weird signs. It's almost like on a soul level, he was already ready, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
weird things. And the same thing with that whole situation that I was telling about with, you know, the guy I was dating, the
Mhm.
weirdest things, like, and I'm getting goosebumps right now, but it was like weird things where you would never think anything of it, but in like later on in hindsight, you're like, that was strange.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like that, like it's like on a soul level, like totally not
Yeah.
conscious of it. And I mean,
Yeah.
I'd love to talk more about like the karma piece, which I think maybe we could talk about that next week.
Next time. Yeah.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
know we're
Yeah.
coming up on time, but I feel like this was really beneficial. And I'm hoping that people really take this on into their lives as well. And
Yes. Yes. Yes.
out
Yes.
for
Yes. Yes. Please.
support, right? Reach out to either of us for support through anything that they're doing, because for
Yeah.
lots and lots of people just passing right now, and we keep hearing about it on the news and everywhere, which, you know, that just doesn't make it any
Yeah.
easier. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is something that we don't want to get used to it. Definitely, you know, it's because life is so precious, and this is such a wonderful gift,
Yeah.
and that, you know, it's for you to live it the best way possible, you know, and just to add, you know, in as a commercial, you know, meditations. Most of the awareness that I have came through me through meditations, you know, and those are the things that would love to for you guys to have it as well. You know, it's like giving yourself the opportunity of experience all these different things, because it will allow you to understand life at a different level, you know, and to process life at a different level. Like we always mention this. I mean, it's not like you're not gonna feel the pain. It's not like your life is gonna be just so magical and full of gifts. No, it's that when it's challenging, it's way easier to find the meaning of that challenge, and to search for the gift of that challenge, or that challenge is bringing into your life.
Yeah.
And that definitely makes a difference,
Absolutely.
makes total difference in the way you live life.
Yeah. And that said, we have our meditation tonight. It's 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Every Monday we have that. And I feel like today would be really a great, I mean, every week is a great day for it, but
Yeah.
I feel like tonight will be like a really great one, especially with 9/11 having just passed and everything. It's just
Yeah.
really to come from a, you know, a place of healing and really just go a lot deeper, release whatever may be within our bodies energetically, like those negative energies, and balancing the chakras and our aura, cleansing it and everything. So I will be
Yeah, definitely.
information on that with how to make the payment. It's only $20. And with that, when you send the screenshot, I send you the link to join. It's all online through Zoom. So hopefully those of you that it resonates with, make sure you make that arrangement for yourself.
Definitely. Definitely. Okay, guys, see you later, and join us, please. And it will be a great opportunity to send light during our meditation to all those passing. So
Absolutely.
let's do it together.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.